Hey, thanks for coming back to the Montana garage. We're back out in the shop, working on the DD Speed Shop 57 Chevy again. It's been a few days again, as usual. Life gets in the way, but we got some little tiny projects going on in the car. We'll talk about that in upcoming videos, mostly because this video is going to go back in time about a month or so to when I first got the car. It's going to go right, it took place right after or the same day of the last video that I posted for those of you that watched that. So I went on a little snowy drive. I pulled in the shop here, and then what I do next is I'm going to do a little walk around of the car. And I've done that a little bit when I first got it, but this is kind of a little more detailed. And when I did it in the beginning, people seemed to think, some people, a very few people, I guess, compared to how many people watched, complained that I was complaining and unhappy about the car and just pointing out the bad things and talking trash and whatever. But I hope most of you don't feel that way, because that's not what it was intended, and that's not what I'm doing in this video that you're going to watch today either. I'm just trying to show you guys the car. You know, I'm going to point out some things that need worked on. I'll probably point out some things that are good about the car, but I'm not complaining. I understand it's an old car. I know it needs work, but I can't just say, look, here's the 57, it's perfect. There are no videos to make. There's nothing to do. Dan did it all. I can't do that because, well, it's not true. There is lots to do, and I'm going to try to make some videos of it because I think you guys want to see it. So anyways, if you think I'm complaining, you can, you know, leave your little comment again, and I'll try to answer you and try to be polite and all that good stuff. But you're wasting your time because I'm not complaining. I'm just showing you the car. So that said, I also want to mention that we did reach our 4,000 subscriber goal. So thank you to the new subscribers. Hope you're enjoying the channel. I'll try to get some more content. I'm going to try to get a couple videos put out here really quickly in succession, because I do have a lot of footage of the car, some stuff I've been doing. I just haven't had time to edit it. So we're going to try to get those edited together and put out here, and then we can get caught up to where we're actually at working on the car right now. So right now, as you can see, it's up on the jack, getting ready to throw the jack stands underneath it, and we got a little bit of a transmission fluid issue down here. So stay tuned to future videos and we'll talk about that. Also in the future videos, we'll do the giveaway for the Milwaukee Light, because we reached our subscriber goal and I owe some folks some stickers. So stick around. In the next few videos, we'll handle all that stuff. So enjoy this video and come back for more. Pulled her into the Montana garage. Tried to do a little tiny power break in here on the smooth concrete with somewhat wet tires, and we got just a little bit of black mark and both sides. So hopefully it's a posi. I didn't even know for sure, but then it pretty much just died, like I said before. So this thing definitely isn't running the greatest. It doesn't really sound like it's missing or anything. So we just got some investigating to do and see if we can't get her a little better. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's about what I expected to be getting. It's a pretty sharp looking old car, you know, especially if we do this door delete. Then it'd be a really nice car. Just not a big fan of the 4 doors, but hey, it's still a 57 Chevy, so it's a badass car. The car's been in the shop for a little while here now, and I knocked all the snow off before I came. You can see there's still snow sitting down in here. I can see why these things rusted out right here now, the way this thing just kind of holds this water in here. I guess my 55, I don't think I've ever had the back bumper on it before. So, you know, even when I used to drive it back in the day in the weather, it never held the water there like that. But there's even like a little seal right there between the bumper and the tail pan, and so the moisture just got nowhere to go. So this one isn't too bad, pretty solid, but this side over here is starting to get a little bit of a rust hole. So another thing I just noticed, and I don't know if I can get far enough away or if the camera is going to show it very good, but the car is sitting a little cattywampus, or whatever you want to say. So it's like 1.5 inches or almost a little more than 1.5 inches higher on that side than it is on this side. I haven't really looked under the car too much yet. I don't see anything obvious. I poked around under there after I noticed that. The car does have air shocks on it, so I'm gonna just assume that there's probably a little more air in that shock than there is in that shock. So we'll mess with that here in a little bit too and see if we can't, you know, level her out a little bit. So let's talk about initial impressions of the car. Like I've probably said before, you know, I knew as much as everybody else out there in the world from YouTube knew about the car. I saw the videos that Dan made, and you know, the car is pretty much what I expected to be getting. It's a cool old hot rod that's had a lot of work done to it, and there's, you know, it's serviceable, drivable for the most part right now, like Dan said it would be, but it's got some work that needs done to it. So just initial impressions of things I'm seeing without, you know, spending too much time with the car yet. There's just mostly, you know, to me, some wiring issues, things we can tighten up a little bit better. Again, I'm not trying to say anything bad or negative about the way Dan did anything. Dan did what he had to do to get the car going and running, and now that it's kind of more at its, hopefully, like, you know, forever home, we can tighten things up a little bit better, and you know, we'll just kind of clean up some of this wiring. There is this wire here, it's just a hot wire. I don't know what it's going to yet. I just touched it, you know, it touched against there and sparked, so for now I just taped it off. So I gotta figure that out. Battery cable down here was against the header, so got a little mark on that. That is the, you know, the negative, so it wasn't a huge deal, but I've tightened some of that stuff up a little bit. Let's see. Oh, I was thinking Dan had possibly changed plugs on this. I've only pulled one out and it was pretty black, but if I look, let's see which one. This guy right here. Pull that plug wire off, you can just see you know, the black soot and whatnot on the plug. So I'm going to assume that plug's been in there a while and they haven't been changed. But I guess that said, it also, now that I look at it, looks like we got a bit of an exhaust leak out of that header right there. I can see some black soot, so maybe that's just all that is. So I don't know, back to the drawing board on the plugs. They may or may not be new, but I'll pull some out here in a little bit and then we'll know for sure, I guess, or we'll see what they look like. Anywho, yeah, back down to get where I can try to see anything. Oh yeah, that header bolt's even loose. Like I said, I could see a little bit of black soot there, so I need to go through and check all those header bolts, make sure they're tight. The distributor was loose. I mean, obviously it was timed and it was running, but it was loose, so I had to tighten that up. I threw a timing light on it, but I can't really make heads or tails of what the timing tab basically says. A and a 0, but I can't tell really where 0 is. So you know, I just got it where it sounds like it's running decent. It starts, fires up right away. I will have to find top dead center and see where my mark is on the balancer against the tab to know where 0 is, and then see if I can get a little bit better of a reading. So that's initial impressions under the engine bay. Like I said before, maybe it's obviously has gotten a little hot at some point. You can see some of the covering on the wiring is melted. Yeah, that's about all I've noticed under here. Got a few more, you know, disconnected wires. This big red wire here is how we have the alternator going from the battery post through the front here, just over here to the hot wire on the alternator. So again, serviceable, does what it's supposed to do. I'll probably, looks like he's just got it running. Sorry, trying to hold a light there, just running through the firewall there too. So anyways, we'll try to tighten or, you know, make that a little better. Yeah, so again, overall, just up here doing what it's supposed to be doing. This is a ground wire for the high pressure fuel system. It was, yeah, it was just right there, and it wouldn't really get tight. It was just a self-tapper into the firewall there. I was having troubles getting it to run, so I tried to clean that off and tighten it up a little bit, and it just was spinning, so I just stuck it there for now. I cleaned that off, so we do have ground, but we might try to get a little bit better ground. Oh, the radiator is touching down right down there, so we'll need to mount the radiator a little differently. Might do something a little different with the transcooler eventually as well. So that kind of covers what's what here in the under the hood area, I guess. Obviously everybody knows we got the new Kragers, and Dan supplied some tires. We do got a little bit of rust here, and then starting on the door. Like I've said before, I may not be using these doors for too long, so I'm not too worried about that. And then these fenders always tend to rust right there. We'll see how bad it is, and they make a patch panel, or I can just patch it. I'm not sure if this is some kind of, you know, stock trim piece, or just, I'm guessing it's more of like an aftermarket thing somebody added on. So I'm not, it feels fairly solid underneath, but I don't know what all that's hiding or not hiding. But anyways, again, if we two-door this thing, a lot of that's going to go away anyways, or I'll pull it off there and see what we see. But that's the extent. Well, I guess back here on the rear wheel well, we got some rust also, so that will need to be addressed. And again, if we two-door it, we'll probably be messing with all that stuff anyways. I have a line on some quarter panels off a hardtop, so unfortunately those wouldn't have, you know, the post or any of the inside door stuff I need, inside post stuff I need. But if I do know a guy that's got some quarter panels I could grab if I decide to do that, or if I decide I need them. Let's see, missing trunk latches. I don't have keys for any of the door locks or anything either, so that'll all have to be figured out. Let's see, yeah, there's no, I guess the license plate thing will go right there. That's not there. Missing the Chevrolet script, or broken anyways. And this side's looking pretty good. No rust on this lip, it doesn't feel like. And then definitely something starting here. Door's better. Yeah, so that's about that for the exterior, I guess. I guess we do have a little bit more rust damage back here in the trunk. I don't know, someone's got this kind of makeshift rear firewall. I think, if I remember right from watching some of Dan's videos, this car used to be drag raced, and I don't know if maybe this is here because it was some sort of requirement. I know if you have fuel or batteries back here, I think there's got to be a firewall separating for some drag racing. I don't see evidence really of either one of those things, but maybe, I don't know why else that was there. And then you see we got some home insulation kind of jammed up in there to fill the rest of the gap. So either that, or maybe they were just getting some fumes or noise in there at some point. Somebody decided to do that, so I don't know. Just a couple welds holding it in place. I'll probably rip her back out of there. But we do have that rust hole up there, and you can see it's kind of been seam sealed along here, and it's starting to rust, you know, down there. Also, other side is better. It's kind of rusty colored, but there's no actual rust hole, I don't think. I haven't poked around with the screwdriver, but this side looks better. So there is a little rust back there to deal with at some point. Oh, and I checked the air shocks, because like I said, this thing is sitting a little crooked. Neither air shock has, you know, any amount of air basically in it. I mean, it was just a little tiny psh. So yeah, I don't know why it's sitting crooked then. I'll probably grab the hose and put a little air in it. I can't see where the shocks mount, but they mount right to the floor. I crawled underneath, and it looks like there might be starting to be a little bit of damage to the floor, and I think this side from the shock mounting. That's what happened to my 55, is I put air shocks on it back in the day and it just destroyed the floor. So this thing will either, I'm not really into the air shocks per se, so I'll probably ixnay them, and even get rid of them, as well as add a shock bar so that things aren't mounted right to the floor, so we don't tear up this floor, because the floor is actually in pretty decent shape back here. Hard to tell if there's any real damage hidden under all this undercoating and stuff, but I think it feels pretty solid everywhere. So yeah, we'll have to get that firewall out of there. I tried to look in from the front side because the seat bottom isn't totally bolted in place, or in place, but the seat back is actually, so the bottom is just sitting here, but the seat back it's in. I know there's a bolt here on each side, and I don't know, for tonight I'm too lazy to take that off, so we'll look at that later. And onto the inside, of course everybody knows we got the brand new seats from Pegtown Customs up there in I don't know, somewhere around Winnipeg. The ratchet shifter dam put in. Missing the glove box. We got the door there, but no inside. Again, I haven't had a chance to do too much in here, but I mean, I've drove it around a little bit. Let's see, package tray definitely needs some work. Headliner falling down in a few spots. One thing I noticed when it was on the videos is it's got these cool door panels, but there's no armrest anymore. That's kind of weird when you drive it. There's no place, to throw the old arm. I guess you got to put it out the window. So they did their seats, and he's got these pieces, but they're all just kind of sitting here, and need to kind of figure out how these attach. And it would be nice if they were, some fresh black. So we may do something with that. Again, I may not be using this seat for a super long time, so it'll probably stay like that. But same thing on the other side. And then the rear seat, all the doors open and close real nice. Rear seat, I don't know, he just didn't get it, it's just sitting here. So I assume it's just a matter of getting it lined up right and pressing it into place. No more damage to the headliner. So yeah, that's what's going on the inside. All right, over here in the cockpit area, everything again is pretty serviceable and good to go. A few initial impressions over here. I gotta figure out some way to mount this little Phytech screen a little better. I'm tired of fighting with that. It has this little suction cup thing, but I don't know if that came with it or if that's some phone holder thing or something, but yeah, it won't actually suction cup to the dash or the window or anything. It just falls over. So I just wrapped it around there most recently, but I'd like to find a way to kind of mount that up a little better. You don't actually have to have that mounted or even plugged in to drive it, I guess, so maybe I won't. But anyways, it's kind of cool, has some good information on it. So I'll probably have that mounted there somehow. Obviously there's no radio, so maybe I'll just kind of figure out a way to put it there a little more permanently. I don't know. Yeah, I'll eventually get a radio, probably, if I drive it very much. Let's see, again, more just wiring stuff. We got wires just kind of zip tied together, lots of loose wires, lots of cut wires. I haven't been able to recreate it, and I poked around down there and I can't figure out what it was, but I kind of hit some wires with my foot the other day and there was a little bit of a spark show down there. So I got to figure that out. Like I said, I crawled in there and looked. I can't find a loose wire or a cracked or broken wire that hit anything, but something definitely hit something and sparked, so we got to figure that out. No gas pedal, and then this, to me, seems like this arm, I think, has been bent up so that we get full throttle action on the fuel injection unit out there. I know on my 55, I actually have a gas pedal for the 55. I brought that in here and it doesn't even reach it. I think this is supposed to be bent down a little bit there. That should have, I think it's got like an adjustment, so maybe I can bend that down. It's kind of awkward. My little, you know, Dan's probably got like a size 13 foot. Better for him to drive, but it's kind of awkward for me to actually get my foot up there on the pedal. You know, right there is where I would comfortably be driving. So I gotta kind of address that, get that bent down or adjusted, and find a gas pedal to put in there. I don't think he charged me any extra, but there's actually still ashtrays from, who knows, 1975 in there. So, or ashtrays, cigarettes in the ashtray. Yeah, so there you go. That's the story. That's what I got, and that's what we have to work with. All right, so there you go. You guys know as much about the DD Speed Shop 57 Chevy as I do. So, like I said, initial thoughts. It's an awesome car. I'm glad to have it. We'll try to make some small improvements, and then, like I said before, drive the wheels off of this thing. I want to get it running a little better. Like I said, it's not running super good. It's probably mostly the EFI, but I'm gonna check all the plugs and the points and, you know, basic tune-up stuff. Get that figured out mostly, and then the wiring probably is the next thing. Just kind of, I'm not gonna go super crazy, you know, ripping out a bunch of wires and stuff, but there's, like I said, just a few hot wires here and there, some cut wires. I still don't know what lights work, what lights don't work, and all that stuff. I gotta figure all that stuff out. But so getting it running a little better, getting the wiring a little better, and then I'm sure I'll discover more things I need to do, but those are the initial projects. And then getting it licensed and insured. I'm waiting on some paperwork from the border crossing. I was supposed to get some papers stamped apparently, and I got some papers from the from all that, but nothing is stamped by any border agent. So my the broker or whatnot that we use to get across the border is checking into that. So hopefully they can get that lined out, because my license agent or whatever here at the license place says I can't register this thing if those papers aren't stamped by the border crossing. So hopefully we can get that figured out, and then we're gonna drive the wheels off of this thing once I get it you know, safe-ish, and you know, I can trust it. Then I'll, you know, my son will be cruising it around. My daughter's back home for college for the summer, so hopefully she'll want to drive it a little bit. Mom's probably not super excited about either one of those deals because it's an old car and I never really thought about it, but obviously there's no seat belts in here. And you know, when I was a kid, I had a 55 Chevy. I didn't have any seat belts, no big deal, but everybody wears seat belts now, and I wear my seat belt. It's a good idea. You should wear your seat belt if you're not. So I may have to figure out some seat belts, or we may have to just understand that we're just driving it here in town and not going crazy, and we'll see what Mom has to say about that. But no, she's not gonna like the no seat belt thing. I don't really like it either, but sometimes it is what it is, I guess. So that's the plan, get it running. The kids can use it a little bit. I'm gonna drive the wheels off it, and then I wanna get it down to my dad to enjoy for a little bit while he's waiting on getting his 57 running. So thanks again, everybody, for following along. Once we get through this initial process of getting it, you know, drivable and sharing it a little bit, obviously I'm gonna make some improvements, you know, maybe disc brakes, I don't know, all sorts. There's a million things I can do to this thing, and obviously the biggest one for me is the two-door conversion, and that's not a set in stone deal yet. But myself, if I envision keeping the car for any extended period of time, it's probably gonna have to be turned into a two-door. Plus, I've always wanted to do that. I mean, it's a project I've wanted to take on. I've actually kind of was looking for a four-door just to do that too. So hey, I got one that kind of, you know, landed in my lap, so to say. So again, not set in stone. I know there's people out there that don't like that idea, but again, whatever, it's my car. I'm going to do it what I like, but if I keep it, I'm probably going to go that route. So yeah, I've already talked about all the sponsors, I think, but one more shout out to Tri-5 Mob, the brothers over there. Appreciate you guys answering all the questions all the time and everything. So yeah, thanks again for following along. Like, share, subscribe. Be sure to hit up the Sobering Restoration channel. Of course, DD Speed Shop, where the car came from. And appreciate your interest, and come on back and we'll see what happens next.